Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So amongst everything else happening in the game, all the commotion around battlegrounds, 8.1 information drop and all that other stuff, we do have new Eternity of Pain fight, and hopefully this video will help you deal with that fight better. Now it is Peni Parker this week, which was one of the more terrifying weeks ever pretty much, but luckily the nodes on Peni Parker aren't that bad. The problem is one of the solo objectives is very specific, and in general this fight does require fairly specific counters. So let's break down the fight very quickly. Then I'm going to show you guys a solo that I did with a 5-star Galan, unboosted and all that, and then we're going to go over overall the best options. So ticking time bomb is fairly easy node to deal with. Basically it says if you parry 3 times in a row, you're going to take a burst of damage. But every time you hit Peni's block, which is something you want to do often anyways, you remove one of these fuse charges. And as long as you remember that you can't parry more than twice before hitting her block, it's fairly straightforward. It's nothing too crazy. Sometimes you will take a burst of damage if you're kind of careless, but it's very easy to prevent. Now, null and gain, every 10 seconds the attacker is inflicted with a passive power lock and special lock for 6 seconds. If the attacker lands a special attack, this timer is reset. This node can be quite annoying, especially in some matchups, but it's just one of those conditions where some of your special attacks will not be freely available, and obviously, whilst that power lock is active, you can't gain any more power. Now, close encounters is the biggest problem here, because it does kind of force you to be super aggressive and stay close to Peni Parker. Otherwise, you do take a lot of degeneration damage. And that agile reversal is there to make sure that you use special attacks occasionally if you want to keep standing. If you really want to, you can basically just ignore ticking time bomb and agile reversal altogether, just pretending that Peni is stun immune, but you don't have to. It's an option though. So overall, not the most complex fights and nodes. So let's quickly take a look at a solo with a 5-star Galan. I kind of struggled a bit to get this solo on the stream, but when I needed to record a new solo with Galan for the video, I did it with my first attempt. And it's always like that. It's always like that. Whenever I stream, I do tend to kind of rush and start messing up more often. And then when I'm not streaming, it just becomes so much easier. And I will make mistakes in this fight as well. You guys can see that. But the base idea of using Galan against Peni Parker is ideally you do want to have your Galan awakened, because that will let you gain your charges quicker. And if you do that, you want to hit Peni's block as often as possible, because that will help you gain charges significantly quicker. And a kind of like key aspect that I realized is you don't really want to spam your special attacks, because they don't really do anything meaningful in this fight, because you kind of fairly freely gain your planetary mass as is. And the good thing here in this situation is that if you're in Harvest playing Galan and above 1 bar of power, you're not gaining any more power, and that can kind of be a good thing here, because you're not crossing power thresholds, and because of that, you don't get that heal block on as often as you otherwise would. So you guys can see that I don't necessarily always rush to use my level 1s or level 2s or gain extra buffs, because I don't need it. I always gain quite a lot of planetary mass as is. And then if I notice when I can't stun her anymore, then I do throw like a special attack here and there, and it works out. So you do not need a specific special attack. Level 2 in this fight does very little, because Peni Parker is in Incinerate immune. So the special attacks that you do want to go for would be level 1 and level 3, most likely. But again, as long as you just enter Harvest with your heavy attack and just let it be there, because you gain extra regeneration, you gain unstoppability that kind of like lets you sometimes recover from some of your mistakes. Here, like I made one mistake, a big one. This made this fight much closer than it should have been, but it's all good, because I'm going to drop my heavy attack, and then I'm just going to start whacking Peni's block, gain all the extra charge in the world. At this moment, I'm at like 8. Now I'm going to use my special one to kind of hopefully finish off the fight. There we go, 135,000 damage. So unboosted 5-star Galan, fairly easy time, like 2.5 minutes, done. And yeah, with Galan, the trick is don't rush using your special attack too much. And with Hulkling, the trick was to incorporate your level 1, and that made the fight much more manageable, even though I was really kind of messing up because of Liquid Courage Double Edge. This fight kind of did force me to take off Liquid Courage Double Edge if I wanted to get the solo for one of the objectives. Anyways, let's jump to the suggestions. So I do think overall, 3 best options for Thronebreaker players, and they are kind of tiered. I do think Galan is probably the best option for Thronebreakers by far. 5-star does the job, but Galan is definitely the best because you basically ignore all of Peni's abilities. There's no power control mishaps. None of that stuff is happening, and it's just very safe and straightforward once you kind of get the hang of it. So Galan is by far the best option for Thronebreakers. Alternatively, Ultron and Odin both fulfill both of the objectives, and I think can be very good for this fight. I heard that there were some Ultron solos during my stream already, or 1 or 2 revive finishes with Ultron for both of the objectives, and Odin does quite well also because of his massive attack rating. You can get rid of the shield quite quickly, and yeah, there we go. That's for Thronebreakers. Best things for Paragon is Hulkling plus Galan or Misty Knight, I would say, or Galan plus CMM. So those would be best combinations for Paragon. To go over each and individual solo objectives, we definitely have size large, of whom best options would be Galan, Hercules, Hulkling, Odin, and Ultron. Without a doubt, there are more. I'm just kind of listing the best options in my opinion. But if you have had great success with some other champions, surely you can comment and let other players know about that as well. Now we have defensive utility. We still have Galan, Misty Knight, Odin, Stark Enhanced Spider-Man. Again, very good option because you can auto-evade from those special attacks. You can get down the shield quite quickly. We have Ultron and Vision Arcus. The cool thing about Vision Arcus is that his power burn potency reduction can actually be quite useful. He reduces power burn effectiveness by 80%, so that's quite powerful. And in Kree, there are only like 2 decent options. Hulkling is really good for it. And then there's CMM that can do quite fine, probably a revive or 2 fight for most people. But that is also something that I definitely did want to talk about, is that these Attend Your Pain fights, Attend Your Pain in my opinion is shifting into very dire direction, if you will. Because right now, if you're going to take a look at how many Kree champions are in there, I've got literally 5 Kree champions in the game, and we have 3 very old and outdated champions. So Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, obviously not the champions that anybody ever wants to rank up as 6 stars. Ronan is kind of like a niche champion. Some people like him, some people don't. You know, I do think everybody needs an access to Ronan, but you know, he's hardly meant for these type of fights. Then we have CMM, a champion that, again, very significant portion has kind of moved away from. A lot of people still like CMM, and fair enough. I do still think she's quite a good champion. It's just not necessarily for me anymore. And we have Hulkling, that's a brand new champion. And this is quite a nasty situation, because I can very easily see a player who doesn't have Hulkling and doesn't have any of these champions ranked up, and would never want to rank up OG Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel. So I don't know. I don't like when they go this specific for the objectives. I'm willing to accept the idea that Paragon objectives can be more specific, but come on. You know, 230 champions in the game, or 220 are playable, and this is making like 2% of them viable, or like 1% of them viable for this fight. So I don't know, not cool. I don't like what Kabam did there at all. I hope next objectives are kind of broader yet again. Let me know what you guys think about this whole mess, because again, I can easily see plenty of Paragon players, especially now that Paragon title has become easier to acquire, that just don't have a way, unless they're like rank 2, rank 3 CMM and drop in a bunch of revives. Anyways, yeah. If you do have any other great options that you personally used, be sure to leave a comment. And that's it. Hope this video helped you, and I'll catch you later. proceed with.
Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the